Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm your host here, the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we are going to talk about why divorced women, or specifically a divorced woman, shows why men are over dating divorced women, and mostly older women in general that have a lot of problems with mental illness there. But before we get into that, I do want to mention one thing, which is I am the president of Venezuela now. Obviously, I'm kidding, but yeah, the hat does kind of throw off the old Che Guevara vibes for some reason now. But yeah, I think that whole thing with Venezuela has become a shit show in the last day and a half or so is what it is there. So I'm not surprised in the least that it changed like that. But yeah, we got some woman now stepping up and trying to be freaking interim president that was Maduro ally or whatever, and it's just become a giant mess at this point. I don't know why the hell we even went in there to begin with, honestly. I think it was oil. I'm not even sure at this point, honestly. I think it's all going to be a giant. I really think it's just because Russia and China are already in there is what it was, and they were trying to basically, it was Trump trying to be, oh yeah, we need America's foothold wherever there now is what it is, or some shit, and I don't know. I feel like all these idiots are getting us into World War III at this point, honestly. The Unity Party of Democrats and rhinos both. So, but who the hell knows? Anyway, so I found something this morning that was this video of this woman it was a Facebook video, one of the Facebook Reels there is what it was, and she was babbling on about like men and dating and stuff like that, and I kind of listened to it for a couple seconds, and I'm like, yeah, this chick is like completely delusional. But then it's interesting because the handle that she was using was something about being divorced, and I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot more sense because obviously the guy that she was with probably divorced her ass, is my guess, because she was a nut. And this is one thing I've realized with a lot of these, especially like the leftist type females, is what it is here, is they'll bitch and moan about like, oh, we want to be, in a relationship, whatever the case be, but the reality is they really don't, is what it is. Or if they do, they don't want to, get rid of their leftist leaning crap, is what it is, to actually do what needs to be done to be in a relationship and have it be a two-way street. And this is one thing I've realized with a lot of our entitlement generation, is what it is here. I'm not just saying it's all women or anything like that. There's some men too, obviously, out there that are just scumbag douchebags, is what it is there. And the problem is when you have these scumbag douchebag type guys, is what it is there. And they might be like the 1 or 2 or 5%, whatever it is at the top there. And they ended up having, like 20 women apiece, like running after them, whatever the case be. And instead of these women deciding to settle for someone who is more in their range, because they are maybe a 1 or a 2 or a 5 or a 6 at max, whatever it is there, they'll be like, oh no, I deserve the guy who's a 10 because that guy decided to slum it one night and fuck me or fuck somebody else, is what it was. It's a friend of mine that's the exact same, cuteness, hotness, whatever that she is what it is there. And that's a problem. That's exactly why we're seeing, I think, in a lot of cases, because of abortion on demand without consequences, etc. There's what it is. You have so much of the birth rates being declining, and not only here in America, but across the world, especially in first world nations. And so instead of us, dealing with that as the problem, is what it is there, and fixing that problem by, course correcting correctly, is what it is there, you instead have all these douchebags coming out of the woodwork and being like, oh no, we just need to import fucking everybody with H-1B visas and shit like that to be a workforce. And it's like, the fuck we do. So anyway, that's the prelude to that. Going to the actual video itself here, which we're going to listen to because thankfully my neighbor guy went to work this morning. I think is what it was, around like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I think we won't be home until about 2:30 or 4, somewhere in there, depending if he works a 6 or 8 hour shift today. And then I got nobody living behind me right now, which I was trying to get down the stickies this weekend, but my cousin did not bring over the heat gun yet. He's going to do that tonight, is what it is. So hopefully if I do a Grandstand the next day or two, these will all be gone by like either Tuesday or Wednesday, is what it is then. Because my plan is either if he brings it tonight, I might do it tonight. If my back's feeling good. If it's tomorrow, I might just do it tomorrow, what it is then. Because it should only take like an hour or two with the heat gun, then I'm guessing. But yeah, it is what it is. So But anyway, going on and listening to the thing. Sorry for the background noise. I am doing laundry right now, and because this place is so small, it unfortunately catches in the thing, because literally my washer dryer hookups are like probably about 10 feet from me right now is what it is. I have the doors closed, but it's still, there's not enough noise barrier there is what it is to allow for the noise cancellation out of what it is or whatever. So anyway, this is the chick here who was talking about how why dating is a disaster.
The state of dating today is a disaster, mostly because many men will not be honest about what they actually want. They will say they want a long-term relationship only because they want to have on tap.
Oh, by the way, she doesn't even have the wherewithal to say the word pussy. Because that's basically what she's saying. She's like, oh, they want a long-term relationship because they have pussy on tap or whatever. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, you crazy bitch? Like, this chick is just completely insane, honestly, bro. Seriously. So
they don't actually want an emotional connection. They just want pussy that they can access whenever and however they want.
Fucking Christ, dude.
So, because men are not capable of being honest, you have to be the one who's driving the conversation, calling the shots, and being honest, which means that if you are the one who does not want a relationship, tell them that you only want them for dick. And here's what happens. When you remove that layer of them needing to lie, when you remove their need to have a veneer of being civilized, that's when they become completely honest. And then you can see who they really are. You can have real conversations that you are dictating, and you are getting information out of them that you actually need to know, not all of the bullshit stuff that they think they need to put forward as far as being a good boyfriend and relationship energy. It's all performative. So get rid of their need to perform. And all of a sudden, they will start being respectful. Not all of them, but it's easy to roll them out. And guess what? The ones who are not going to be respectful of you because you only want friends with benefits, they wouldn't have been respectful of you if you were both pretending to have a relationship. The difference is it would come out later and you feel like you're duped. Let it come out right up in the front so you can block their ass and move on. And then that allows you to very carefully pick and choose who's actually going to get access to you. And that gets you one step closer to a connection that actually will be satisfying. The people that I have actually connected with physically, with the exception of one, have all been respectful, have all been completely honest, have all treated me with dignity and humanity and sensitivity, all far more than I ever actually experienced inside of my romantic relationships. Let that sink in.
So basically, she's trying to justify whoring is what it is, dude. That's all it is. She's trying to justify being a whore, legitimately. And this is exactly what I've been talking about this whole fucking time, honestly, dude. This is why our society's become so fucked. This is why our society has gotten to the point where it's now these women who want to have entitlement bullshit is there without consequences. And when they're called a whore because they're fucking, 6, 8, 10 different guys, whatever it is there. And then they're like, oh, you shouldn't be calling me a whore even though I'm doing whorish things is what it is. It's like, why the fuck wouldn't I? Or why the fuck wouldn't society is what it is there? When you're literally committing whorish behavior that warrants you to be called a whore is what it is. So, and I find it interesting too that she's babbling on about like dudes not being comfortable, whatever the case be, or lying, whatever it is there. It's like, you see it time and time again. Like I saw it recently, actually. There was a good one. And it was, I forget what that one girl's name is. There's two different ones that are like out there that talk about, like from the guy's perspective, usually is what it is there. It's, there's a girl named Lynn who is married to some dude who's like, I think she's like a brunette or whatever. And then there's like this blonde chick, and I can't remember what her name is. And it's that one I'm thinking of though. where she'll like do like a slide-in thing is what it is there, usually with her phone in her hand. And she was talking about one recently, and it was this dude. It was like a random dude who's probably like, I don't know, like 20, 22, somewhere in there. And you could see he was in the driver's seat, and it was the girlfriend was filming or whatever. And I think he had gotten like a milkshake or something was what it was from like a fast food joint or some shit like that. And he had obviously made like a weird like milk mustache on his upper lip there is what it is, and was basically like joking around with her or whatever. And she's like, "Don't do that, bro," or so. I think actually it was kind of a mean response that she gave basically. And you can just see like the defeat in his eyes or whatever of where he like opened himself up fully to this woman, and then she basically just stomped on his vulnerability is what it is there. And then you have women like that right there that we just talked about a minute ago. And it's like, and you wonder why dudes won't open themselves up to you is what it is there. And it's like, yeah, because they give you their heart and you stomp all the fuck over is what it is there, lady. And so when they're treated like shit, you know, X number of times, whether it be 1, 2, 5, 10, whatever the case be, in a relationship, yeah, of course they're going to fucking lie to you and be like, oh no, I want a relationship. In reality, they just want, you know, some puss is what it is or whatever for a little bit because they're fucking sick of it all, man, because they're sick and tired of the shit. But it's funny to me because at the end of the day, what she was basically talking about was how she was like, well, she just wants friends with benefits too is what it is. And it's like, okay, then be it. Like, that's the thing. Like, and this is what I've seen with so many women too is what it seems like, dude, is that they'll sit there and bitch about men, but in reality, they themselves are so fucking all over the place that they don't tell you what the fuck they want until it's too late in most cases. And then they wonder like why they expect dudes to basically be mimers when it is there when they could just be like, hey, I don't actually want a relationship with you, I just want some fucking dick for the night or whatever. It's like, okay, cool, bitch, like I'll be over at 10 o'clock or whatever. You know? So, and that's the problem with most of these women or these females is what it is there. They'll sit there and lie to your face, or they'll act like they want something that they don't. And then, you know, maybe you actually want something, like maybe you want a long-term relationship, whatever it is there. And they're just looking for, you know, great example, next victim. And it's just sad, man. It's a sad situation all the way around. Whereas if people were just honest about it, we could actually just have like better societies what it is then. I don't know. And I feel like honestly with stuff like that, especially with like, you know, the mental illness of like a lot of these chicks anymore is what it is. Especially like the like leftist ones and stuff like that. And then they wonder why like dudes are into like, you know, age gap relationships with younger females that don't have like, you know, a 75 person body count and a bunch of emotional issues and like psychological issues and stuff like that is what it is then. You know? It's like for me personally, like if I was gonna marry a woman right now, I would want as close to a virgin bride as possible, honestly. And it's because I myself am still a virgin is what it is right now at 41 almost. So I have no problem saying that right now. Because, you know, and that's the thing, like I was always told as a kid, I was like, my mom, you know, instilled in me, she's like, wait till marriage, bro. Now granted, that kind of went out the window like 20 years ago. She just haven't been able to find anybody what it is right now. Mostly because I haven't really been looking much is what it is. So, and unfortunately, it seems like the older I get, the worse it gets, honestly, when you go to like, God forbid, if you've checked out dating sites in the past, like, 5 years or so, man, it's like, you're sitting there, and it becomes exhausting eventually, because, like, from my own personal experience, you know, I'll go on, like, something like a Plenty of Fish or an OkCupid or whatever the case be, and it's just, like, let's say there's, like, 50 women, I'll go through the profiles or whatever the case be, and it's, like, 47 of them are either pro-abortion or have, you know, 2, 3 extra baby daddies and like a bunch of kids in them is what it is then. And then I get to like the 3 I'm actually interested in, potentially. Or maybe I don't even get to those 3 because like I'm so sick after like 46, 47, I'm just like, well, fuck it. And I just walk away is what it is. You know? Because that's the thing, like when you start looking at the same shit over and over again, and you're like, ah, she's moderately attractive or whatever the case be, and then it's just like, oh, you know, I've had 2 abortions, or I'm pro-abortion, or I have 2 kids, or whatever the case be, or a kid, and oh, they get, or it's, you know, I actually saw one on there a couple years ago, and by a couple years I mean probably like it's probably been like about 4 years, maybe 5 years now actually, where it was this chick, and she had, I think it was maybe like a 2 or 3 month old, and then she had like 3 other kids or something like that with multiple dudes. And she's like, oh, the fathers of all these children are still, in the picture, whatever the case be, because they're around their kids all the time, whatever it is. And I'm just like, then why the fuck are you on a dating site, bitch? Like, literally figure your shit out and get back with one of them is what it is then. Or maybe it's because they all know you're fucking insane and psychotic, and that's why they all dumped your asses after putting a kid inside of you. And that's another thing with a lot of these females, dude. Like, be more selective with who you're letting come inside of you, seriously. Like, why are you letting, like, random jerk-offs come inside of you, bro? And knock your dumb ass up. Like, it's just stupid, honestly. So, but yeah, I think that's my biggest issue with, like, the female population in general at this point in history. So, but anyway. Oh, apparently that piece of shit Tim Walz jumped out of the Minnesota governor's race for re-election now. And people are now talking about Amy Klobuchar replacing him. Speaking of females that are just complete pieces of shit in general. Those don't know about Klobuchar. Back in the day when she started out her political career, she was actually a county DA, I believe is what it was. Or a county prosecutor, one of the two, whatever they call them in there in Minnesota. So it's basically the equivalent of DA, whatever the case is there. So anyway, she had gone into there was a young kid, it was an 8-year-old black kid is what it was, and she went in the interrogation room, lied to this kid, forced him into a false confession. By the way, this kid had no parental supervision at the time with him. He had no parent with him. He had no lawyer with him whatsoever. She forced him into a false confession, railroaded his ass, lied about him going home that night to get the conviction, where it was somebody else who actually did the crime is what it was. And then she used that conviction to proceed to further her own career to eventually U.S. Senate now is what it is, and potentially to the Minnesota governor's race is what it will be now. And yeah, it's that kind of shit right there, dude. That's exactly why these fucking people just need to be put away forever is what it is then. In federal prison where they belong. So anyway, but yeah, like I said though, with so many of these females anymore, it's such a pain in the ass, dude, to like even be able to go and do anything right now. And then people wonder why like so many guys I hear are single is what it is there, and it's like, it's not that we want to be single, it's that we're basically being forced to be single because it's just either, whoredom of all these females, or it is something else for that matter, where it's just like, the psychotic lunacy of a lot of them is what it is there. Or they'll just play fucking head games with you for, 6 months or whatever the case be, and like use you and then toss you out the fucking window is what it is or whatever then. And it's like, who wants to put up with that shit, honestly, dude? Like, I sure as shit don't. Like, I got better things to do with my time than sit there and waste a bunch of money on dates and stuff and, do what I want to do is what it is then. So, anyway. But, yeah, the whole point is it's a bunch of bullshit. So, I don't know why my thing was going out. I almost did a hat change now. I did purple on purple now. So, I got my new purple hat the other day. I think it looks pretty badass. Especially with the purple shirt. Stone cold pimp, bro. Not really, though. I wish. But maybe actually make some real money at that point then. But no, I'm not going to do that. Because I'm not about exploitation and stuff like that. But anyway. I also got in a different hat the other day as well. This one's not as comfortable. This is my American flag hat. I don't know what's up with this one. It's almost like, it's like 100% cotton, but the problem is it's like too small for my head. Like by a couple inches, and it doesn't want to, there's like no give to it like the other ones. So it wants to go like around like that, but it doesn't want to do like a full like fit, like it's too tight. basically. So I figure I'll wear this for 4th of July this coming year is what it is then. But yeah, that's the whole thing. So anyway, but yeah, like I said, it's just kind of bothersome to see how society is basically degrading right now is what it is. And then I feel like we're definitely on the last gasp with stuff right now because we are heading to a point in history right now. Actually, I think this purple one might be also cotton. Let's see. Yeah, this is 100% cotton. It's just a little bit bigger than that's what it is then. The bus supposed to be about the same size, I believe is what it is. The other one doesn't even have a tag in it right now. So they're different companies, though, is what it is over there in China. Which again, these could all be American-made goods. Even the hat on my head right here is what it is. Could be American-made goods for about the 10, 20, 12 buck price tag. So anyway. But yeah, the whole point is though is that you have a bunch of people who want to basically play head games, and instead of just being like honest about everything and being like, no, I just want some dick or some puss or whatever it is there. Like, and I'm saying that from a woman's perspective, obviously as well. Like, whether they want cock, whether they want, same-sex relationship, whatever it is there. Like, just be fucking honest with people, dude. Like, most people, like, that's the thing. Like, I try to be as honest as possible with people. It's like, hey, like, I'm just here for this, that, or the other thing is what it is, man. Or maybe it is I want something, somebody there for me is what it is. Which, honestly, at this point, for me personally, like, I actually want love is what it is, for real. Like, I want, like, a wife. I want kids. I want to have, a family is what it is now. But unfortunately, I can't find that yet is what it is now. And, like, would I be willing to, like one of these girls that was, let's say an OnlyFans chick or whatever back in the day and is now a so-called, like, born-again Christian or whatever the case be, or born-again virgin, whatever you call it there. Like, would I be willing to marry that kind of woman? It all depends, honestly. Like, the answer is not 100% no. Again, it would depend on the girl, honestly, and depend on, like, I don't know, like, it's hard to say, because, like, obviously, like, once you get into a relationship like that, and you have, like, a situation where it's, like, eventually you're going to want to know, like, how many dudes they've been with in the past, what it is there. It's kind of like the whole chasing Amy thing, where the dude ends up finding out the girl's, like, not a lesbian her whole life, and then she fucked, like, 2 dudes or whatever. And then turns into, like, a whole thing is what it is there. And that's the thing, though. It's like, and I do like the speech that Kevin Smith gives in that movie about it being, like, from the perspective of the girl, it was Amy. And it was basically, it was that time of the life, not into that stuff anymore kind of thing, whatever the case be. And that is very possible. But the thing is, it's like, at some point, like, you got to have a cutoff is what it is there. And really what it boils down to being is when you actually start looking at relationships and bonds and stuff like that, I believe it's something like 30 or 40 people. Like, once you hit that mark, like, no matter what, if you're a guy or a girl, especially if you're a girl for that matter, like, once you hit that mark of people you've slept with, is when you can no longer form actual bonds with people anymore. You can no longer form loving bonds, relationship bonds, etc. with people anymore. So you're pretty much done at that point. And that's the problem when it comes to, like, the born again thing. Because let's say, that girl, or that whatever it is there, that girl, that lady, whatever it is, had, 30, 40 partners before that or whatever the case be. Like, who's to say she can actually form that, proper relationship to be a wife is what it is then. And that's the issue right there, is what it comes down to being with these so-called reformer types is what it is there. So, not to mention the fact that obviously all these porn people and stuff like that too as well on top of that. Like, your who was that one recently, like that Riley Reid chick, I think is what her name is, was all like, oh, I want all this content from me in my 20s taken off the internet now, or whatever the case be. Yet meanwhile, what she never talks about on that one is how she has an active OnlyFans account right now in, like, her late 30s, I think is what it is, after she's had this child now. And really what she's trying to do is she's trying to make exclusivity is what it is there, because she wants all of the money that's coming in now from the OnlyFans to be the only money that can be made off of her content will be then. and it would go directly into her pocket instead of into whoever she worked for back in the day, Vivid, Wicked, whatever it was, the different porn companies out there. So, but anyways, so yeah, it's just totally disingenuous is what it is at the end of the day. And I think that's the problem with a lot of people that have right now is what it is like when you have that disingenuousness or that just completely like, deception is what it is there. And then you wonder why dudes are over it instead of just, being for real with these people is what it is, man. And being like, no, I want this, this, and this in this order, whatever the case be. And it's like, cool. Then you can have that relationship, whatever the case be. Whether that be a friends with benefits, whether that be an actual long-term romantic relationship, whether that be marriage, whatever the case be, And I feel like that's the problem with our society right now is it's like, and this is what has made, people like myself so jaded to the whole dating scene. It's made myself so jaded to even like, pursuing relationships with it is there because it's like, what's even the fucking point? So I'm my heart broken again, So I was actually talking to my brother last night and my sister-in-law. Ended up jumping on the phone for a couple minutes. And she was making a joke about when somebody moves into the place next door here is what it is. She's like, oh, maybe it's going to be a hot girl or whatever the case be. And I was like, oh, one can only hope. So, I mean, look, I've been saying that for like several months now since I found out the guy was going to get evicted out of there is what it is then. I was like, hopefully it'll be some hot chick or whatever the case be or some, decent looking woman or whatever the case be then. So I'm not asking for a perfect 10, man. I'm just asking for somebody who's into, big dudes is what it is then. So as up for a relationship, whatever the case be. But who's to say? Only time will tell at this point, honestly. Just my luck, it'll be another YN type, honestly. So I was looking for places today, and unfortunately, I couldn't really find anything in my price range that wasn't just absolute garbage, basically. So it kind of sucks. I found one that would have been decent, except for the fact that it was, I want to say the starting rent price on it was like $800 a month, and it had no utilities at all with it. You had to pay for, it was water, sewer, gas, electricity. I feel like there's a fifth one too. I can't remember now. Let me see now. So let's see. Electricity, water, sewer. Oh, that's what it was, trash. So yeah, it was trash, water, sewer, gas, and electricity, which is just fucking insane, dude. So, but yeah, it's just. So I'm assuming honestly that $800 a month would basically be at least $1,000 a month in utilities. What it is then. And now I was looking at it, a thing on Facebook from one of the groups I'm part of, and it was somebody talking about Canton Water and Sewer now, and they were being charged $150 a month for their water and sewer now. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. So, let's say if that's what it would be for that place, then that much money, then plus trash, at least like $50 or $75 a month. So then you're talking about all those plus electricity plus gas. Like you're probably talking about more like $1,200 a month, honestly, was all said and done, which is a complete slap in the face. Like that's the nice thing about here right now. Like even though this place is not, insulated the way it needs to be, like at least I have trash pickup that I don't pay for is what it is then under my rent. And or after, I should say, I think that's actually included in rent, if I'm not mistaken, is what it would be for the $725 I pay right now is what it is here. And then it's basically I just got to cover the other utilities, which are electricity and then water, sewer, which is basically, I think my water sewer is like $30 to $35 a month, someplace in there. I think it's right. I think it's around $35 a month now is what it is. And electricity has fluctuated, obviously. Last month it was like, I think 50 or something. I'm not sure it's going to be here in the next couple of days because I've had my heater on for the last month or so now. So it'll probably be like $100 a month is my guess, honestly, now going forward. So hopefully it's not that much. I'm hoping it's more like 75 max, but who knows? But even still, it's whatever. So, but yeah, the last thing I want is the female YNs, dude. Like, although to be fair, there is a way to turn one of those people into actually a decent person in some cases, and it is with that deep dickening. So, now granted, that being said, do I really want to bang some black girl? It depends. I'm not against banging a black woman. It just depends on, like the color. It depends on the coloration. Honestly, I prefer me the caramel colored ones. If you get what I'm saying, so, like the ones that actually look like a piece of caramel, basically. So, skin tone wise, mostly it's just because that is the one I found most attractive over my lifetime is what it is there. But yeah, personally, I prefer like either white or Asian women is what it is then. Latinos are another one that aren't bad, but they're like lesser on this scale is what it is there. So, also I found out recently, I'm pretty sure the people that live it's like 2 complexes down, or 2 units down, I should say, in this complex, are either illegals or like they are, at least the mother is, I believe, what it is. So potentially it could be like an illegal with anchor babies is what it is then. That being said, I'm not going to randomly call ICE on somebody because I don't know exactly if they are. So, and they haven't really bothered me because they live, several houses down. Like, because the way these are set up, it's 4 units in the house is what it is here. And I'm in the second one. I think they're in like the 4th or the 5th one down is what it is. They'd be at least 2 or 3 away from here right now is what it is. So, and as far as I'm aware, they're quiet for the most part, or at least the noise doesn't come up my way is what it is then. So, but it is what it is. So, if something happens where they are busted for being illegals or whatever the case be, like, so be it. But that'll be, I'm sure, further down the lines what it is then after I leave here would be my guess. So, but yeah, like I said though, it'd be nice to just be able to find somebody and not have it be a big, production and just like bullshit or whatever the case be. I think I only saw them I know I saw them once or twice during the springtime, like the spring, summertime is what it was there. Because they were out playing, and like I think there was like a couple of young ones playing like a kiddie pool or whatever the case be, and there was like a teenage girl was like watching over him, whatever the case. I'm not sure if that was like an older sister or what it was. And then I think it was the mom came out and said something to him, and I think it was Spanish, if I'm not mistaken. Because I was going to get my mail the one day. I'm not usually out enough to really pay attention to what it is there, so we have to be. And plus, with it being wintertime now, I'm not sure anybody really be out now is what it is, because it just, wants to be out in the snow is what it is then. But yeah, I've noticed there's a few less cars in the parking lot now, but then again, that could also be a couple people might have moved out since that's what it is. So I know for a fact there's at least one less because this jackass is gone now is what it is. So, which thank God for that, man. Like, I'll tell you what, like, and I'm not so sure that the 273 days of hell with his ass was all his ass. Because I've noticed in the last couple of days that Mickey, who lives over in the other unit that shares the wall with my kitchen there, I don't know if it was last night, if he was watching one of these football games and hollering and carrying on or what it was. Because I noticed that last night, I noticed it was either Saturday night or Friday night maybe. He was doing the same thing. So I'm not so sure that some of the noise I wasn't hearing that I thought was this douchebag was actually that asshole. So, but it is what it is, man. Like, I'll deal with it because the thing about him, though, is at least I know with him, if he's going to be loud like that, it's going to be, okay, cool. He'll, like, depending on what time the game is over. Then if it's like, 11:30, 12, like 11:30, 11:45, 12 o'clock, whatever it is, then like at least I'll know like, okay, by midnight or so he'll usually be, calmed down, and then I can sleep after. That's what it is then. And it won't really be an issue. Versus this motherfucker when he was still here, that son of a bitch Dawn, it was all fucking hours of the night, dude. It was anything from 10:30 at night, he was bitching and moaning, to 4 to 5 a.m. Or even sometimes into 6 or 7 a.m. for that matter. And it's like, dude, like seriously, respect the quiet hours. Like that's all he would have had to do, and he could have stayed there. But he said he wanted to be a fucking douchebag. And, just be a loudmouth ass fucking ON cunt. I use the word ON because he was older, obviously, but he was still kind of a YN type, is what it is there. So he's basically just an old N, is what it is. So I don't know where the fuck he went now. Hopefully it's straight to a prison cell, honestly, but who the fuck knows. But anyway. But yeah, I think the real problem with our society is just like that. Well, one of the many problems with our society, I should say, is just chicks not wanting to be for real about what it is, man, and just being like all bitching and moaning about this, that, or the other thing, instead of just being like, hey, this is what we really want, or whatever the case be. So I actually saw a good video the other day. It was some Somali woman after the whole fraud thing came out there in Minnesota, here in Ohio, etc. there. And she was talking about how she didn't respect people who didn't wash their ass after taking a shit. And I'm like, yeah, this is called America. We have a little thing called toilet paper here. You don't gotta fucking wash your ass like the fucking third world where you come from, you stupid fucking cunt. Because we actually wipe our asses properly is what it is here. So in fact, I don't know anybody that would take a shower after taking a shit, man. That'd just be waste of water and stuff, honestly, and a waste of resources for that matter. Where you could easily just take like a dude wipe or some of these other wipes out there, whatever the case, you have a pack of those and just use one of those to wipe through and get anything that's not, taken out by TP is what it is then. So anyway, but yeah, these fucking third worlders are just disgusting people, man, in general. There's another video I saw, actually, I think it was last night, and it was some dude talking about his neighbor who was a Somali there in Minnesota, and how they were just basically lying about, how they're basically saying, oh, in Islam, we can lie about this shit and defraud you, and it's like, that's not how that works, motherfucker. It's called, you come into a host nation, and you respect the host nation's fucking set of laws, or you get the fuck out is what it is. Or we will kick you the fuck out is what it is there. Which, honestly, it needs to be gunpoint tyranny at this point for these fuckers, dude. It needs to be expelling Islam by armed military force at this point. And if the military isn't enough, call armed civilians, that's what it is, then we'll get shit done is what it is, man. But yeah, it's time for Islam to get the fuck out of this country for good is what it is there. That's why I have that's why probably my biggest problem with Nick Fuentes specifically is he'll sit there and say all this, basically. I'm not saying it's all anti-Semitic, but there's definitely some like anti-Semite shit in there against Jews and stuff like that. And then he'll sit there and basically blow Islam, and I'm like, are you being paid by CAR or some kind of other Islamic group out there, dude? Because that's what it fucking sounds like, honestly, when you're like being like, oh, Islam isn't a problem, and it's like, the fuck it's not, dude. It's literally trying to take over this country right now, you jackass. It's like, that's a problem. All this Indian invasion from H-1B visas and everything else, like, that's a fucking big problem, too. So is a bunch of other stuff, But yeah, there could be multiple problems at once. It's not mutually exclusive there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just fucking sick and tired of that idiot, though, and them trying to come here to Ohio potentially and fuck with our governor's race, and it's just so fucking infuriating, dude. I'm just overall right now, that's what it is. debating if I want to take my medication today or not, because I noticed in the last couple of days right here in my elbow area, specifically this arm, but also the other arm's hurting a little bit too. It's like my joints are starting to hurt pretty bad. I'm supposed to technically take my shot on Saturday, is what it is, for my birthday. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take a few days early, maybe is what it is here. I feel like he's a broken clock, is what it is. He's right like twice a day about stuff, but then like he'll just say like dumb shit the other, like, 22 hours and 58 minutes a day basically is what it is there. So, and like I said, when you're talking about trying to come here and fuck with the governor's race and then trying to be like, oh, we'll just use Ohio as a sacrificial thing, it's like, the fuck you will, cocksucker. Like, you want to get you want to fucking throw down, bitch? Like, you're going to get my fist in your fucking mouth at that point, honestly. So. Sorry, I was just thinking about that one funny ass. I forget what the movie was that John Cena did with Amy Schumer, where he was talking about punching the guy in the dick hole. But no, I got no problems in going. And I think that's the problem with Nick and people like that in general is that you have these people who've never been punched in the fucking mouth in their lives, and they've never been in a real fight in their life, and they want to sit there and just talk a lot of shit without being able to ever back it up as what it is then in an actual situation. So. I don't know, it depends if I can get to the store or not. I technically have some stuff in the fridge right now I haven't used up yet. I should probably use it up now is what it is. Because I got a couple different tall boys from the one grocery place I went to before. And that was months and months ago, so I don't know how good those are now is what it is. I'm sure they're still probably good to drink, but who knows? I know one of them's like a fruit punchy one, and then the other one's I think it's like they're all Arizona teas that are like hard, is what it is. I want to say the other one's like just like a hard version of whatever their sweet tea was. And I've had one of those before. It's not that great. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to definitely mix that with some Arnold Palmer is what it is then, to try to downgrade the amount of alcoholic taste to is what it is there. So it'd probably be like maybe like a 40-60 mix of like whatever that is, 40% and then 60% Arnold Palmer on top of that is what it is there. So it'll be like less bite to it, if you will. I'm not a huge fan of the taste of alcohol is what it is there. Especially when it tastes like rubbing alcohol going in my mouth is what it is there. So, which is kind of what that tastes like. So yeah, if I was going to do that, I'd probably take that can, dump maybe like a third of the can into a cup, and then whatever's left of that cup, like let's say it's be about the size of this cup, so it'd be about right here is what I'd probably dump into alcohol-wise, and then the rest of this would all be full of something else that it is then. So it'd be like 2/3 Arnold Palmer, 1/3 of that, or whatever the case be. So just depends right now. Depends how I'm feeling right now, honestly. So, but yeah, it's crazy to think I'll be 41 in 5 days. So I honestly never thought I'd make it to this point in my life. So also very sad to think that about 85% of my health problems right now can all be tied back to when I was 18 years old and had that full body peeling. So, which was the worst Christmas ever in 2003. And unfortunately, it's all gone downhill from there, is what it is there. And that's another reason why I haven't, going back to the thing of why I'm still the way I am right now. It's mostly because of the fact that I've had so many years where I had, like, obviously my arms are not looking like it now because of the shots and stuff. But yeah, there was, like, most of my 20s into my early 30s, actually, like, my arms were just completely covered in psoriasis is what it is, man. So, and then when you have it on your chest and ass cheeks, etc. there, and knees and everything else like that. It's like it's really hard to find love that's going to look at you and not be like, ew, you know. So yeah, it's like when you feel like a leper and you kind of look like one at the time. Like it's kind of hard not to, you know, sort of just not want to go out as what it is there. So, but yeah, I'm kind of one of these guys now where I'm just like, I don't want to go out to a bar scene. I don't want to go out to a nightclub scene because they're just not worth it to be in those places or anything else like that. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know that they would. I know with my version, because it was so bad, it was I'm trying to remember what the doctor told me when I first went to go see. I think she said it was because they do it in like palms is what it is there. So it'd be like whatever your like size of your palm is what it is there. Is how they measure that stuff. And I think I had like 48 palms worth of psoriasis patches on my body is what it was when I first started seeing my current dermatologist is what it is there about I want to say I was going to say 7 years ago, but it's been longer than that now. It's probably more like a decade now. So washer's done now. That was about an hour, give or take, when I started that load. Dryer's still going for over an hour now. I think when I did my laundry last week or so, it was like 2.5 hours that dryer went for before it finally shut off, which is crazy. And I got that load that's in the washer right now. I got to take and put in the dryer after the dryer's done now. And then probably 2 o'clock would be my guess, give or take. If it is about 2.5 hours. And it'll be about 4:30 will be the second load will get done then. But anyways, what was I saying then? Oh yeah, I went to see a dermatologist like probably like a decade ago or so now is what it was. Okay, so it would have been after my colon cancer, so that would have been like 2017, 2018, somewhere. I think it was 2017 is what it was then. Because this May will be the 10-year anniversary of my mass removal is what it is there. So, and I'll be doing a special thing for that is what it is then. Hopefully by then I'll be moving to a different place as what it is, and then I can actually have some family over into that place, and then we can just do a little party, a little get together, whatever we're gonna call it there, at my new place, or even just go out and have a little 10 years cancer-free celebration. That being said, I still gotta get my CT scan on the bulge in my stomach right now, which I don't know if that thing is growing or not. Like, I hope it's just a hernia at this point, dude. Like, just my fucking luck, it'd be like CT scan comes back. Oh, it's been this big ass cancerous mass in your stomach this whole time, and you're just fucked. Is what it is. So, yeah, my luck that would happen though, honestly. But if I knew that was the case and I couldn't take that shit out or whatever the case be, I had nothing left to lose. I'd just be like, well, fuck it. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do then for time being. So, anyway. But, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, like I said, to me, it's one of these situations where, you know, you realize that when it's all said and done, nothing's ever really going to change unless people start to, you know, wake up and want to change what it is there. And that's why you're better off as a guy in most cases to be in kind of an age gap relationship with a younger woman is what it is then. Especially when you want kids is what it is, because, you know, obviously if I was to meet some woman right now that was roughly my same age, they would either already have children from a previous relationship, or they would be close enough to menopause to where they might have a child, is what it is, if they can. Whereas I would much rather be with a woman who can have like multiple children and is like, 20, 25, somewhere in there. So anyway, which is very possible right now, honestly. To find somebody like that, it's just a matter of time and, whatever. Like I said, it'd be nice if whoever moved in here would just be some, moderately attractive woman is what it is there. So, see, I've thought about that, but then the problem with that is if I was going to go join that kind of community, I have to like shave the beard because, you got to be clean shaven. Whereas I would want to keep my beard, Because the thing is, like, I don't know if people have ever seen me without the beard, but I just like I know there's videos out there of me without my beard on, man. And it's just like my face just looks fucking weird without a beard, is what it is, man. So I would definitely need like the facial hair is what it is then. Although I know Mennonites are like a lot closer to like the English is what it is there, so maybe. No, I'm pretty sure it has to be clean shaven. Like I'm pretty sure everything has to be gone because the whole point is it's like I believe their whole point of doing that is it's something where it's like because they're unmarried, it like shows they're unmarried because you are like a clean shaven man or whatever the case be, and like you're like closer to God or fresh to God, whatever you want to call it there. I'm not exactly sure what the actual terminology would be. And so then that's when you get married is when you obviously start growing facial hair out then because obviously you cut your mustache is what it is then. You just have like the beard going. Which, again, I would be the opposite of Holmish because I just don't want my mustache too as what it is then, the soul patch and everything there. So, but no, the whole point of it is that was like them being married and that they're married because of that's what it is then or whatever. So anyway, I don't know. It is what it is, man. Like I said, it's just a matter of time. Seeing who moves in here. Hopefully I can have the rest of January then. Hopefully it won't be any time in the near future. It'll be February 1st at earliest then. But who knows? Because like I said, it's been nice not having anybody back here for the last 6 days now is what it is. Because I've actually been able to take a good nap and siesta in the chair for a while and not have some dickhead hollering, carrying on, having loud ass phone conversations about like, oh yeah, man, gotta go do this today or whatever the case may be. And yeah, that Don guy had so much fucking extra bass in his voice when he didn't need it. What it is, man. So yeah, but anyway, so if I know exactly what Mickey's schedule is for the next week here or so, I might try to do another grandstand in the early hours then, like this, where it's like 11, 12 in the morning, whatever. Or if I just hear him leave is what it is, then I might just say forget it and just do one of those what it is. So if I need to do any like video stuff or whatever then. But oh yeah, one thing I do want to talk about before I leave today. So I was on our official network page last night there on X, and because of the whole Venezuela thing, there's a bunch of people calling people out or whatever the case be, and like talking shit about people and stuff. And I like this one bitch popped in my feed or whatever, named like Kayla something, and she was babbling on about this woman who was talking about the how much better Venezuela is without Maduro in it and stuff like that now. And she was saying about this other chick that supposedly like her family was like drug runners or something like that, but yet provided no evidence of this, by the way, which I thought was weird. And this is my biggest problem with people like that on these social media platforms is like they'll sit there and shit talk somebody, make some weird claims about either them being a drug addict or them being a junkie or whatever it is there, or their family being drug runners or whatever it is there, yet they provide no proof of any of that stuff. And then when you call them out on it, they'll be like, well, if you don't know who this is, you're just a dumb motherfucker or whatever the case be. It's like, or I've never heard of this fucking person before. How about you actually do your due diligence, you stupid fucking cunt, and do the goddamn research and provide a fucking link or two to either a Wikipedia page or some kind of social or some kind of fucking mainstream media outlet that would be like, hey, you know, X, Y, and Z people were arrested for this thing of drug trafficking, whatever the case be. But you don't do that stuff because my guess is you're just a lying fucking asshole is what it is there, and a lying fucking cunt is what it is there. And you want to shit there and shit talk people and not have them sue your ass for defamation of character and slander and stuff. So, but yeah, I think we're all pretty sick and tired of it is what it is right now, dude. Like, I know I fucking am. And yeah, it's just really annoying is what it is, man. So I also really hate the algorithms that Musk has put in place there on X, because I swear to God, it's like you'll comment back at one person and now like 50% of your feed is now like that fucking topic or whatever it is there. Like whether it be Venezuela, whether it be the Somali daycare shit, whether it be something else for that matter. It's like, God forbid you talk to like, you like, you know, call out one or two people there is what it is then on their stupid bullshit. And now it's like half your fucking feed is filled with that shit is what it is there. So this is the problem with AI in general, being able to do algorithm stuff and try to curate your content is what it is there, instead of just being like, no, just give me what I want to look for, dude. It's like, just because I call out one douchebag politician, I mean, I fucking talk to like 50 of them today is what it is there, and call their asses out too is what it is. So it's like that Don, it's like his name, Don Bacon, was one of these fucking clowns who, this is what I thought was interesting too. So I'm going to go ahead and show this here. There was somebody on X, I think it was like a day or two ago, who called this guy out, talking about him being a bitch for Israel, what it is there, because he's literally taking over $1 million from the AIPAC there is what it is there. And his response to them, and like everybody else, is basically, you're a bunch of anti-Semites. It's like, how the fuck do you figure that, bro? Like, because we're calling out your criminality, because we're calling out your literal fucking treasonous shit to being able to do another country. If that's anti-Semitic, I don't know what the fuck would be, you know, Semitic, if that be the case. You know, I'm not even sure it would be at that point, honestly. But yeah, it's like, this is the problem with that guy. It's like the same thing with the whole like non-arguments where people try to play the race card shit is what it is there. It's like, oh, you're fucking racist because you don't like black people, whatever the case be. It's like, no, you're just a fucking asshole with no argument who is trying to make it racial because you're an anti-white racist in most cases, what it is there. So, anyway. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the next several months going forward. What would be hilarious, actually, because I did see somebody saying something about Walz dropping out of the governor's race there in Minnesota and potentially Klobuchar taking over, and how it would basically be a cakewalk for her against some Republican that they're going to put up against her, whatever the case be. And it's like, what would be hilarious is if some random Republican just came out of nowhere in Minnesota and actually flipped that state completely is what it is then. Due to all the Somali fraud and stuff. So, and unfortunately, I think that's what, like, and that's kind of what I think, like, somebody needs to become at this point, like, going back to the whole Nick Fuentes thing. I think it really needs to be, and not just somebody, it needs to be a lot of people, honestly, just coming out of the woodwork and being, like, just going, like, so accelerationist that people are just like, yes, vote for that person. Where it would be like, you know, like, I'm not trying to say, like, be, like, openly, like, crazy racist or whatever the case be. What I'm saying is, like, you gotta be about America and for America's interests is what it is right now, dude. And when I say America's interest, I mean Americans' interests. And it's getting rid of the fraud, it's getting rid of the corruption across the board right now in both major parties. In fact, I would say it's getting rid of both major parties completely is what it is, replacing them with something completely new is what it would be then. That are more constitutionalist parties after the fact is what it is then. So, but yeah, really it starts with just getting into power as one of the two, you know, Republican, Democrat parties is what it is there, and then just flipping the script completely is what it is there. So, and really, it needs to start with kicking these people out of fucking races that are openly trying to screw over primaries and stuff like that. Like that one fucking piece of shit Islam cunt in I believe it is North Carolina, who went in like full hijab, or it wasn't even full hijab, it was full burqa shit or whatever the case where you can even see her fucking face. And then when she went to some Republican meeting there at a state level, and they're like, okay, what about the platform do we actually, agree with? And she was like, nothing. And it's like, then get the fuck out of the race, bitch, and go back to fucking being a Democrat that you are. And that's what bothers me the most about us not having automatic qualifications on the receipt of power in this country. Is not only should it be that, it should be automatic qualification from running for office if you're trying to do some bullshit like that, where you're clearly trying to like run to fuck over the vote process is what it is there, and screw over a real candidate from getting into that position, so that you can basically turn it into like a 2 Democrat race bunch of shit, honestly. So anyway, this is the entire problem with open primaries and stuff like that, and why there needs to be like closed primaries for parties and shit, dude. That's actually why the state of Ohio in the last couple of years now, why our General Assembly has redone the thing completely. And I'm not sure if they passed it or not, or if it's being passed right now is what it is. But I know there was legislation on the books that they're trying to put on the books anyway that would have basically made it so that you can't go and vote in a Democrat primary or a Republican primary and then flip-flop to the other party after that for the general election. It would have to be, if you're going to vote in the primary for Republican, then you're going to vote in the general election for Republicans, and vice versa. Or if you're going to vote with third party, whatever the case be, you're still going to be third party at the end of the day is what it is then. So, but yeah, that's how it needs to be anyway. And I feel like we definitely are. I definitely think shit's going to accelerate though in the next few months anyway, because obviously it's wintertime right now here in Ohio and across the country. I know there's supposed to be like 2 to 5 feet of snow hitting different parts of California and like Oregon and stuff in the next day or so. And that's going to be some crazy stuff. But yeah, I know, come like springtime, summertime of this year, I would say definitely around the primaries here for sure. So it'd be like May, June, etc. there. I would not be the least bit surprised. And I'm going to make this very clear right now before I say the rest of it. I do not endorse this. I do not support this kind of behavior. I completely condemn this. I believe we're going to see political assassinations happen this spring and summer, whether they be for real ones or whether they be people doing them themselves. If that be the case, it's like false flag attacks. I would not be the least bit surprised to see people. I would not be surprised to at least see a real one happen, and then like 3 or 4 fake ones, whereas people doing them themselves, or potentially even starting out as like 3 or 4 fake ones that lead to a real one is what it is there. And whether they be attempts, whether they be successful, who knows? But I definitely think things are going to start accelerating like crazy this coming summer is what it is then. And maybe even in like the springtime too, for that matter. Like it's basically going to be, it's going to be how it's been for the last like several election cycles, where it becomes a riot season out of nowhere, basically is what it is there. But in that case, it would be like potential political assassination season would be that this time around. And I think, unfortunately, Charlie Kirk was like kind of the canary in the coal mine kind of situation there last year, where these crazy leftist types realized they could do it to one, and now I think they can do it to everybody's what it is then. And would it surprise me if they did it to a Republican and then try to do it to like 3 or 4 Democrats? Just to be like, oh, well, our side's being targeted too kind of situation. And it's like, no, it would not surprise me at all. Or would it surprise me if there was like some lunatic right-winger or whatever the case be that finally came out and was like, you know what, fuck the left. You just started smoking a bunch of them is what it is then. That wouldn't surprise me at all either, for that matter. So, when you push people to their breaking point, then you wonder why they've, lash out and stuff like that. It's not that hard to figure out, man. So, but yeah, I really think we just need to have a situation where society finally just has it out as what it is then. Whether that be a second Civil War situation, whether that be a second revolution situation, whether that be a single purge kind of situation, who knows? So, But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the problem with having a single purge is that it would basically turn into a regular thing then, where it really just need to be like a one-time event. So, where like nobody's exempt, especially not politicians. So, anyway, but yeah, only time will tell, man. I could definitely see things. I definitely see things getting a lot worse though before they get any better. Is what it is there. And now that we're doing this bullshit in Venezuela, like who knows how the fuck that's going to turn out now. So the thing I don't really understand is why you would capture Maduro and not just execute his ass on Venezuelan soil is what it is there. So plus the fact that the judge they're bringing that to in New York is supposed to be like some anti-Trumper, Clinton appointed judge or whatever there. So who knows how that shit's going to work out. I do find it interesting, though, that you now have all these leftists coming out of the woodwork and being like, yeah, we're all in favor of dictators now, when they were all about no kings like a month or two ago is what it was. So, but yeah, that one's crazy to me, like how you're going to sit there and be like advocating for a literal dictator who's genocided people in his own country being removed from power. Like it blows my mind, honestly, dude. Just completely flabbergasting. It's a real quagmire, if you will. So, anyway. But I've been at it for more than an hour now. I got stuff I gotta do. Must see if this friggin' how much longer the dryer is gonna be, and then I can throw the other stuff in the dryer after the fact. Obviously, for those wondering about the way the chair is right now, it's because I'm actually washing. Or I shouldn't say it's not washing, it's now drying the white throw thing I have over the chair usually is what it is there. I do like to keep it on here quite often though, because the way that this chair is right now, which is the brown, it's not quite as warm with just the regular way that the chair was made. Whereas if you have the actual extra thing on there, it usually will make it a little bit warmer then. So it also makes it a little bit cooler too in the summertime and springtime and stuff like that. But yeah, I need to wash today, so I washed that, and then it's now drying. So most likely I'll end up taking a nap here in the next hour or two when it is done. Depending. I got my stuff coming in later from USPS. Hopefully it's at the right fucking door this time. I know they did yesterday, but I had one come a couple days ago. I don't know if it was somebody that was a new mailman helping out the dude who was maybe on vacation or out sick or whatever the case be, but they ended up setting on my neighbor guy Mickey's door there because they're like, oh, it was delivered like 15 minutes ago. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's not outside my door. So, of course, I ran outside in pajama pants and shoes and ran over there and was able to find it then. And I'm like, oh, thank God. So, which I don't understand how the fuck you're going to be like, oh, let's just random. This is at a door here is what it is. It's like, that's not the right door, man. Like, there's literally a fucking address that says right there on the damn door. Like, you know, like when I shut on my fucking door, and that's the problem. That's really the problem with the post office in general, because if they do fuck up like that or whatever, unlike Amazon that has like, you know, an actual picture of being at your doorstep or whatever the case, you're at a doorstep you can go find the shit. There's nothing there for the postal service. It's just them scanning into their system and being like, oh, it was delivered with no pictures and stuff. So it's like, now you got to go figure out where the fuck is that. That's what it is. So anyway, but yeah, it is what it is, man. But at least they got the one last night correct, which I'm actually surprised they put it up my doorstep and didn't just throw it in my box. That's what it is. So, but yeah, as of right now, this is supposed to be here by supposedly 3:40 is what their expected delivery time is, which is very interesting because I know for a fact it's been like 4 and 5 o'clock before. So they delivered out here, so only time will tell then if it's actually going to be here in like 2.5 hours or yeah, because it's almost 1 now, so about 2.5 hours from now or not. But we'll figure it out then. So, anyways, that's about it for today, though. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, so many of these chicks are just crazy these days, dude, and you really gotta find a good one. That's what it is. And unfortunately, it's very hard to want to wade through, 50 pieces of shit to find a decent one. Is what it is there. So, anyways, till later. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Always be carrying. Always be situationally aware of what's going on around you. In case we do see terrorist attacks this coming spring and summer, because you never fucking know, man. I feel like Islam is gearing up for some crazy shit now, and I think we're also going to see a bunch of other crap happen right now. I would also not be surprised in the least if we see some kind of holy war happen on U.S. soil in the next couple of years now. So, anyway. But yeah, basically be vigilant, be ready, be prepared, and if worse comes to worse, have a plan, have a backup plan, have a backup plan to the backup plan, and then have a fourth and a fifth plan if you need to. We got backups to backups, and always remember the old rule that 2 is 1 and 1 is none, and have at least 2 of everything is what it is then. Because if you don't, you're probably not going to be able to have anything worth having is what it is then. So, and depending on where exactly you're located, you're more likely to bug in than bug out to begin with in any situation. So be prepared to bug in initially and know exactly when is the right time to bug out, basically. Whether that be a couple days on, whether that be a week on, just make sure you don't miss that window is what it is, man. So anyway, till later. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. And I will most likely do a Slicey Boy Saturday and Sunday this coming week. And I'm sorry for not doing the one the other day. I was just not feeling the greatest, and I feel like bringing out 10 different blades is what it is. So anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. Later.